Subject this morning is uniform of the day, and I don't know where that came from. It just kind of popped out of something I was watching or something, and I was reminded that we do put on different uniforms all the time. And our world is defined by an endless parade of uniforms. We have traditions, dogmas, pageantry, commandments, all serve to homogenize our thoughts and our behaviors. These devices are intended to teach and codify our belief and behaviors. In the military, they have basic training and concentrate into a few weeks what religion spread over our lifetimes. We have repetition, we have reinforcement, we have punishment, all to ingrain conformity within individuals. Now, uniformity can be good. In the meditation we were listening to a while ago, they were talking about how the cells of the body react and behave in certain ways. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing that the cells of our liver know that they are liver cells and that they need to perform certain tasks in a certain way, as well as the other cells, the cells of our skin and the other organs that recognize that when they're damaged, they have a job to do to conform and reform that which has been damaged. So a certain amount of uniformity is a good thing. If you're in a military unit, it is good to have conformity within the ranks. If you are in any sort of organizational structure that relies on the organization working as a team, it is good to have some uniformity. Sometimes we carry it to extremes, and sometimes we use it as an excuse. We all grow up with a sense of identity. We all know what it is to be American, or British, or French, or African, or some other ethnic group. We all know what it is to be a man or to be a woman, and we also know that if we don't conform to either one of those two identities, we know what our society thinks about that. Victims are invested in their victimhood and relish that identity. They put on the victim team jacket and they break out the victimhood playbook and work every scenario on every page to its ultimate outcome of being a victim. And we recognize those uniforms, the woe is me. The person with the Velcro on their hand and forehead, oh my, look at me, pity me, to the point where you just kind of want to grab them by the collar and say, wake up. Now, of course, there are victims. There are people whose homes are, engulfed in water and whose, neighborhoods are burning down around them, and those people are victims of those circumstances. But most of our victimhood is self-imposed, and we wear that uniform with pride. I suggest we have the opportunity to peel that uniform off anytime we like, and that's why we study spirituality. That's why we study martial arts. That's why we study a lot of things, but it all comes down to recognizing our own inner strength. That strength which allows us to make a change in any given moment, with any given breath, and simply say, this is not the identity I am comfortable with. This is not the uniform I want to be wearing. I want to kick off these heavy boots. I want to peel off this starched jacket. I want to run around in a t-shirt and some board shorts and some flip-flops and not look like any, well, now I'm wearing another uniform, aren't I? Now I'm wearing the uniform of the beach bum and the surfer goat. But still, it's a uniform that allows us a little more flexibility. It's a uniform that allows us to simply be an individual within the confines of this given uniform that we've chosen to wear. My daughter's entered high school now and no longer has to wear a school uniform. So now she has to conform to a different type of uniform, that which is dictated by the society in which she lives. She has to shop at certain shops and buy certain designers and have a certain look about her so that she conforms with her peers, which is a much stricter uniform than any ever imposed by the Board of Education. And yet she's also free to say, no, I don't care what you think about my appearance. I don't care if you think I'm shopping at the wrong stores. I don't care if my makeup isn't perfect, because I am none of those things. And so far, knock on wood, her strength, her spiritual strength, is that which doesn't force her into pigeonholes defined by others. And I encourage her every day to continue being herself, as long as she behaves the way I want her to. That's another uniform. Adherence to any particular religious or political ideology or patriotic zeal defies the overriding principle of spiritual truth. The overriding principle of spiritual truth is simply love. We're done. We can go home now. It's that simple. When we think with love, when we act with love, when we judge with love, and we are humans and we do judge. That's chapter 4, page 73 in the Victim Playbook. We must judge others, that they be like we. We see politicians wrap themselves in the flag. We see zealots wrap themselves in their Bible, their Quran, or their Torah, or whatever book they are reading from. But they don't wrap themselves in the message those things represent. I can't tell you how many times I've personally been sickened by people getting mental over the burning of the American flag, forgetting that the American flag stands for the freedom to burn the damn flag. If there's a problem with what's going on in your country, we have the responsibility as well as the right to stand up and say, something needs further investigation. Something isn't right here. We need to look at it. Not just say, you're burning our precious flag, that's wrong, you got to go to jail for that. No. The flag stands for the right to burn the flag. People praise and worship the teacher Jesus. And trust me, he and I are like this. We're tight. We agree. We believe in the same things. But I don't worship the man. I can't. He's a man. I love what he teaches. I'll defend to the death his right to teach it and agree with spreading the word of love that he taught. But drop to my knees and kiss his feet, not going to happen. Sorry. Ernest Holmes writes in the Science of Mind textbook that doctrine usually refers to something which is taught, and creed is more or less brief outline of what has been determined by the leaders in interpreting their particular religion. Dogma goes beyond this into the arrogant assertion of doctrine, even to the point of indicating its authority to state what others shall think and believe. Now, the Science of Mind teaches that we are all individual expressions of God, with one amazing gift: freedom of choice. Freedom to screw up our lives any way we choose to do. and freedom to live in perfect bliss by simply remembering love. Think with love. Act with love. Be as love is. Be as Spirit is. We are created in the image of our God power of Spirit because Spirit is love. Spirit gives us the freedom to screw up our own lives by saying, you name it, I'll make it for you. I will create whatever you're looking for. You're looking for heaven on earth? You got it. You want to live in the Garden of Eden? We can do that. You want to go around judging people and be judged as you judge? We can do that too. Want to play? Love is a double-edged sword. Apply it that way. When we can have whatever we believe is true, and then we have the freedom of choice to believe something that isn't true, when we have the ability to look at the facts and say these are not the facts, we have the ability to judge selfishly, woefully, meanfully, to look at someone and say, look at that outfit, where did that come from? That is so last year. Wearing white after Labor Day, are you insane? Now, in my day job, I'm outdoors most of the time, and I have taken to wearing what is essentially a ranger's uniform. It's khaki shorts, khaki shirt, and a nice broad sun hat. And because I do the same job every day, I have dozens of these shirts and dozens of these shorts, and sometimes I change 3 or 4 times a day in the heat of the summer. And it's my uniform. People recognize me wearing it all the time. They know who I am because they know that uniform. And my neighbor next door likes to wear a white shirt and white trousers all the time. I think his closet has nothing but white shirts and white trousers because I've never seen him wearing anything else. But on the other hand, he's never seen me wearing anything else other than my uniform, so I don't know for sure. But it symbolizes, mine is for convenience, number one, because it's the job. And you know, your auto mechanic wears the blue shirt and the blue trousers most of the time. That's kind of their uniform, and different people have different uniforms for different jobs, and that just makes it easier to dress for work, for one thing. The clothes are usually more durable, and they have a practical reason. Like I said, I'm outdoors. The hat, very important to me. I would burn to a crisp without it. But the idea of wearing something just because somebody tells you you have to. You know, we have different religious traditions on the planet where clothing is part of the garb. You know, in the Hebrew tradition, there are certain colored cords that are part of a proper outfit. They also have a proper hat and proper beard and other things that identify as a group. They're important to them to set themselves apart from other groups, but that introduces a duality, and I'm not just picking on the Hebrew tradition here. You can find it anywhere. I just have to put that as an example. You know, we talked earlier in another meeting about the different robes that ministers wear and what some of the symbolism is about that, of which I am not an expert, so don't ask me. But the uniformity does set people apart from other groups and identifies, and that can be good if that group is the majority. It immediately lets you identify as the majority. Look, we're all dressed the same. We're the good guys. Anybody not dressed like us is suspect. Now, flip the tables. Be in the minority and be wearing that same uniform. You also stand out in your uniqueness. If you're the one kid in school that wears flip-flops all the time instead of closed-toe shoes, the teachers kind of look at you and say, keep an eye on that one. May not be a problem today, pencil is missing, that's the one we're going to look at. You know? Holmes also writes, God himself has placed a unique stamp on everyone. We should not study to be alike, but rather to develop what we really are. Unity does not mean uniformity. Our unity with other people does not mean that we must think and act as they do. All it means is that we should get along with them. We should unify with everything while at the same time keeping intact and whole that God-given something at the center of our being, which is a spiritual ego, our spirituality. That's where we are exactly the same. That's where we are totally uniform. Beyond that, it's open season. Each of us gets to express in our own individual way. Keeping in mind, we are hooked unconditionally to that love, that energy, which provides us anything we believe. Second place does not dictate terms. If there is a war, the losing side does not get to write the peace treaty. They get to agree to it. That is their only function. The winners write the peace treaty. The winners dictate the terms in any situation. Second place does not. The chosen one, by whatever means, be it election, anointment, simple rise to the top, as the cream does in the milk. By whatever means, the chosen one is chosen not just for their skills, but for their judgment. And believe it or not, this entire talk is about something that I kind of saw in a movie a couple of weeks ago, where somebody was the chosen one. They had risen to the top of their field. They were the person that everyone went to for advice and decided that person was their leader. And, oh my God, would you please take the job? Would you please do this for us? We want you to be the one. And finally, reluctantly, because they're the hero, they kind of, no, no, you don't want me. I'm not the one for you. Yes, we want you to be the one. You're the one. Please, we need the leader. You're the leader. Oh, okay, I'll do it. All right, what's the first thing? Well, we're going to go over here. Oh, we can't go over there. Well, why not? Because we've never done that before. Well, guess what? You just chose me the leader. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you think, what you used to do, how it used to be done, or what your traditions are. Your tradition starts today. Your tradition starts here. Because you chose me to be your leader. We choose Spirit to be our leader. We choose Spirit to be our anchor. Spirit only asks one thing of us. Understand how I work and go with me. Don't argue with me when I tell you to love somebody. Don't argue with me when I tell you hurting other people isn't helping yourself. The path is this way. All the stuff you've been doing up until now hasn't been spiritual. Notice I'm not saying it hasn't been right, not saying it's been wrong, but it hasn't been spiritual. You've chosen to follow Spirit. Follow Spirit. Spirit is love. There are no exceptions. It has to work the way Spirit works, because Spirit is the only formative, creative power that there is. We can create from it anything we want, but it is the one that does the creating. Holmes writes in Living the Science of Mind that spiritual identity itself remains individual and unique, though forever expanding. We cannot now visualize what the future development may be, but it is inevitable that we shall pass from this state of being into ever ascending states forever. What seems most important is that we be happy, well, and prosperous here and now, and that we maintain our spiritual identity wherever we go and in whatever we do. He continues, there cannot be anything true about the individual unless it is first true about the universe. By the same token, anything that is true about the universe must be true about the individual, for the individual is a microcosm within the macrocosm, or a little world within a big world, or as we state the proposition, an individualized center in the creative consciousness of God. This is what I've been talking about. We are an individualized expression of the spiritual being. We are created in the image of the spiritual being. We are powers of love. We are conduits of love. And when we choose otherwise, we step off the path and we stand alone. The science of mind teaches spiritual mind treatment, defining steps to be followed, but note there is no official template, but rather an indication of direction. 3 steps, 5 steps, 7, all intended to put us in touch with our true selves. There's even acceptance for a 1-step when appropriate. Mercy, that's treatment, all by itself. It's one verb, and it says, I surrender. I surrender to the power that is love, the power that is spirit. I invoke mercy upon those around me. I request it for myself, and I surrender to God to let that happen. That one word, treatment. Now, treatment is a tool available at any time. There's no rule defining how or when it's applied or where it's applied. Many of you have heard me say I've done many treatments at drawbridges, railroad stops, because I had time to do it. It's also a good time to meditate, but careful about falling asleep. There's no official outfit or grooming standard in Science of Mind, and if you've visited many of our centers at all, you know that there is no standard decor and no standard program. Each is as individual as the people that make up that individual community. Each has its own taste, its own flavor, its own smells. So I simply invite you to remember that the uniform of the day is love. Wear it on your sleeve, wear it on your face, and wear it in your heart.